is enjoying his retirement. Second, with a stronger Second Amendment caucus here at the Capitol, as we are now bipartisan and bicameral with Senator Dush's leadership in the Senate. But most begrudgingly, we find ourselves at a disadvantage in the House. Just a few weeks ago, House Democrats attempted to pass 4 gun control bills, all attempts to dwindle away at our Second Amendment rights. The Second Amendment caucus fought hard, and we were able to defeat 2 of the bills from the minority, which is a feat in and of itself. One with the potential to make you a criminal if someone steals your firearm, and another that would require you to keep your guns locked up while you're in your own home, even if you live alone. Red flag laws and universal background checks unfortunately made it to the Senate, but now that we have a strong Second Amendment caucus in the Senate, I am sure that they will be taking up that fight. Expect more and more attempts to take away your rights this year as House Democrats have the majority for the first time in 12 years. I'm actually expecting to see House Bill 912 on the floor very soon, which will end the ability for you to check your firearms when you visit here at the Capitol. I have no doubts that you and this very event were at the front of their minds when they wrote that legislation. I want to take a moment to name the representatives who have taken the time out of their day to be here. There are a lot of meetings going on right now, and so they'll be coming in and out. But I want to thank them for their help with our fight last time with these bills that they were running and the future bills that we're planning to see. So in no particular order, Representative Aaron Bernstein, Clint Owlett, Alec Rinkovich, Russ Diamond, Tom Jones, Wendy Fink, Donna Oberlander, Jamie Barton, Mindy Fee, David Zimmerman, Barb Gleim, Barry Joswiak, Harry Stambaugh, Lee James, Ryan McKenzie, Rich Irvin, Jim Struzzi, Marcy Mostello, Mike Armanini, Brian Smith, Dane Watro, Eric Nelson, Jim Rigby, Joe Ham, Kate Klunk, Torin Ecker, Jake Fanta, Tim O'Neill, Tim Twarzik, Steve Menser, Michael Stender, Brad Roy, Stephanie Shalaba, Doyle Heffley, Joe Diorsi, Kathy Rapp, Marty Kauser, Craig Statt, Stephanie Borowitz, Thomas Cutts, Paul Schemmel, Jason Ortizai, Park Wentling, Ryan Warner, Mike Jones, George Dunbar, Lou Schmidt, Mike Cabell, Jonathan Fritz, David Rowe, Dallas Kephart, Republican leader Brian Cutler, Jack Rader, Mark Gillen, Brett Miller, Natalie Mihalik, James Gregory, Jill Cooper, John Lawrence, Joe Adams, Joanne Steer, Jesse Topper, Ann Flood, Malou McKenzie, Robert Ledbetter, Tina Pickett, Jamie Flick, Keith Greiner, John Schlegel, and Andrew Kuzma. Thank you guys all so much for your support. The theme of our rally this year is United We Stand. First, to highlight the addition of a Second Amendment caucus in the Senate, but to second, remind people that the Second Amendment applies to every citizen of the United States. And here in Pennsylvania, our Constitution is even more explicit. The right of the citizens to bear arms in defense of themselves and the state shall not be questioned. How much clearer can we be? We've been hearing over and over again about skyrocketing crime rates in Philadelphia, and yet the Democrats who represent that part of the state are leading the charge to take firearms away from law-abiding citizens who just want to protect themselves and their families. I've also heard them say things like, well, if people of color or LGBTQ citizens started buying up guns, Republicans would be first on the starting block to pass this gun control legislation. And that tells me that they don't know us at all. It is the right of every citizen to own a firearm, regardless of what you look like and who you love, and we want everyone to exercise that right legally and as afforded to them by the Constitution. We have some great speakers today to express that very sentiment, and with that, I will pass it off to Senator Dush for remarks and to introduce our featured speakers today. Thank you.
Great job, Abby. Thank you. And I do want to thank Darrell Metcalf for having gotten this thing started years ago, along with Kim Stouffer, and we'll be addressing Kim a little bit later here. But good morning, fellow patriots.
Good morning.
During the past several months, Governor Shapiro and Mayor of Philadelphia, the mayor of Philadelphia, and many other gun-grabbing Democrats have been blaming violent inner-city crime rates on the people's legislature's failure to act on so-called common sense gun laws. As chairman of the first ever Pennsylvania Senate Second Amendment Caucus and member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, and by the way, former member of the House Second Amendment Caucus, I maintain that infringing on any constitutional right is not common sense.
Amen.
Any constitutional right. Fortunately, Philadelphia's Benjamin Franklin and the rest of our founding fathers had the common sense and the enduring faith in personal responsibility and self-government to recognize two indisputable truths. First, a truly safe and liberty-advancing society is an armed society. You know, when we declared independence, it was independence from our own government. Second, citizens legally and freely executing their constitutional right to keep and bear arms are the most effective deterrents against both violent criminals and government tyranny. All of which brings us back to the no-nonsense original intent of Article 1, Section 21 of the Pennsylvania Constitution. The right of the citizens to bear arms in defense of themselves and the state shall not be questioned. Ladies and gentlemen, with only 18 words, the people of Pennsylvania declared the right to keep and bear arms. The franchise holders, the people, declared the right to keep and bear arms. That it is a God-given right to use lethal force in self-defense and not just for duck hunting or militia. To put it even more bluntly, the people of Pennsylvania have already constitutionally declared that government can't touch this. Article 1, Section 25 in our Bill of Rights, to guard against the transgressions of the high powers which we, the people, have delegated. We declared that everything in this article is accepted out of the general powers of government and shall forever remain inviolate.
Amen.
You can't touch this stuff.
That's right.
The people trying to take your rights are saying democracy, democracy, democracy. We are a republic, and in the most democratic thing that we have done, we write our Constitution. We vote on our Constitution. And we, the people, have declared those rights in Article 1 are inviolate. Well, I'm not trying to steal any thunder from our outstanding featured speakers. I'm going to briefly zero in on some positive pro-gun ownership information from their home city of Philadelphia. Self-defense and the responsible use of firearms, which is quite common nationwide, is on the rise in Pennsylvania, or in Philadelphia. Applications for concealed carry permits are skyrocketing from around 11,000 annually to well over 70,000 in just a few short years. That's a startling 545% increase in lawful gun ownership. Of this 70,000, women comprise more than half of these new applications. With firearm ownership also soaring, legal firearm ownership soaring among people of color. Meanwhile, the good people of Philadelphia and the city law enforcement are still suffering under the district attorney Larry Krasner's ludicrous zero punishment dictate that arrests and convictions for illegal gun possession are not a viable strategy. This idea of no pros or not prosecuting, it's the law. He's got a responsibility to prosecute. Rather than fearfully cowering in gun-free zones or being robbed of due process through gun-confiscating red flag laws, we must vigilantly protect our rights to self-defense and not let misguided and extreme gun control restrictions disarm law-abiding citizens. As our featured speakers will expertly share with us, that begins with empowering victims, not criminals.
Amen.
Please join me in welcoming to the podium nationally recognized right to carry advocates Carice and Jarrell Crew, CEO and founders of That Gun Club.
Well, good morning, my 2A friends and family. Good morning. It's so wonderful to be here today. This is my husband, Jarrell Crew. He's here supporting me. I am Carice Crew, and I am a co-founder of That Gun Talk, Firearm Safety and Education. And we have partnered with the National African American Gun Association as a chapter gun club in Philadelphia. And I am so humbled and honored to be here with you today. First, because I am enthusiastic about our Second Amendment right. And secondly, I am walking a path paved by women such as Ida B. Wells, who believe that a Winchester rifle had a place of honor in every African American home. And second, you have to think about this amazing woman. Thank you. Harriet Tubman. She always had a pistol by her side.
That's right.
When she was freeing enslaved African Americans. All right? So, and additionally, I'm grateful to the Second Amendment Caucus. And this lady right here, Abby Major, thank you so much. And also, Representative Bullock of the Pennsylvania Legislative Black Caucus, because she organized important conversations for us to be able to talk about African American gun ownership. All right? And so, That Gun Talk, we're eager to continue working with you all on uniting in the defense of our Second Amendment right. I come before you today as an educator. I have worked in the Philadelphia school districts for many years, and also as a co-founder of That Gun Talk, and as the Pennsylvania State Director of the National African American Gun Association. Furthermore, for the past 2 years, I have become a certified firearms instructor, thanks to my husband, who's a USCPA training counselor. My husband and I are both NRA instructors. Right? So, through the Rockland Foundation and a partnership with Fran Tate and Dan McMonagle, they're both NRA certified instructors and TC counselors. So what I want to tell you is when my husband and I founded That Gun Talk Firearm Safety Training in 2020, we were actually driven by a harrowing personal experience. But it gave us new perspective on gun ownership as well as the Second Amendment right. I just want you to picture this. On my birthday, 2018, it was Easter weekend. We're just strolling through TSA pre-check. Everything's good. We're going to Mexico. I'm excited because it's my birthday weekend, right? We're surprised because the TSA agent, they're stopping, looking around. Things are getting really strange. So I say, oh, it's probably just my laptop. And I look over at the TSA agent. I said, oh, laptop? She looks at me with a blank face. No, gun. Ooh. At that very second, I'm still getting chills to this day. I was about to pass out. I had a fully loaded Glock 43 with one in the chamber in my purse. Yeah, I'm still shaking every time I think about it. Literally. Jarrell, he had recently given me a firearm for self-protection, right? So he gave it to me for self-protection because I was robbed. A gentleman that was trying to help me jumpstart my car proceeded to rob me. Oh, he's not a gentleman. That's the South in me, y'all. I don't know what it is. I grew up down south. But he was not a gentleman. But what ended up happening is what I realized is I was about less than 20 feet from the Milburn police station. Less than 20 feet, and I was robbed. Can you hear me back there? Oh. Hello.
There you go. Right up on it.
Can you hear me like this?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. I might just grab it off here.
Okay.
All right. Let me just pull it on back. This takes me back to my church days. All right. So, whew. basically, when the robbery occurred, again, it was less than 20 feet from the Milburn police station. All right. And though my husband's warnings about responsible gun ownership rang in my head every day, I literally did not heed his words. I lacked practical experience with carrying, besides being the daughter of a veteran and a deer hunter. I never went hunting with my father. But meanwhile, while I sat in the Philadelphia jail waiting to be released, at that moment I realized I gotta be responsible. I have to be a responsible gun owner, right? So when we got home, I looked for an attorney, hired an attorney to, one, help me expunge my record, two, help me get my license back, and three, of course, I have to get my firearm back. So that worked out, but I also, going back and forth to court, I learned about the USCCA. And as I'm looking at the USCCA, what I realized is they had a course, someone to become a training counselor. So at that time, I gifted my husband the training counselor course. It's all right. At that time, I gifted, maybe if I do this. How's that? Are we good? All right, we're back on board. Woo! All right, so for Father's Day, I gifted my husband the gift to become a training counselor for me, because I needed him to teach me and everybody that he had been telling to honor their Second Amendment rights. He was like, oh, he's just so excited. You get a gun, everybody should have a gun. And literally honor your Second Amendment rights. So now he was able to teach me and others. It was amazing, right? But since then, we have educated over 14 new black instructors in Philadelphia, men and women alike. We have trained hundreds of law-abiding Philadelphians on responsible gun ownership, utilizing the USCCA and the NRA curricula. So what I'm saying is, united we stand for our right to bear arms. Can I hear everybody say that one time? United we stand in our right to bear arms. That's what I'm talking about. So, as you can tell from that Gun Talk's origin story, I learned the hard way that those who carry firearms should do so legally, have proper training, be prepared for the responsibility, be situationally aware, and understand their two-way right. And as a member of the fastest growing group of gun owners in the country, African American women, I am eager to share these lessons. According to the NSSF, gun ownership among African Americans increased 58.2% in 2020. And nearly 87% of gun stores nationwide increased their sales to African American women. Relatedly, African American men and women have been coming in droves to that Gun Talk for training and education. And they're so thankful to my husband and I and our crew, some of them that are out here today, so thank you for coming. But as a firearm instructor, I have witnessed firsthand the transformative power that education about firearm safety and responsible gun ownership can have on African Americans. Despite the media's overemphasis on gun-related traumas in our communities. Now let me be clear. Gun-related traumas are chief among the problems that vex many African American communities, alongside unjust laws, poor legal prosecution, a broken mental health system, undereducation and miseducation, among many other things. However, we must understand that gun-related traumas are not symptomatic of the violence that pervades American culture. In other words, people choose to enact violence using guns. Guns are not inherently violent. So via my work as a firearm instructor, I have interacted with hundreds of people. Parents wanting to buy their children firearms for self-protection at school, survivors of domestic violence, and mothers whose sons died from gun-related homicide. I've witnessed these same trainees regain a sense of control and security and transform from very vulnerable to empowered after taking classes with that gun talk. So above all, our trainees have learned that with the glorious right enshrined in the Second Amendment and the grand power of gun ownership come great responsibility. I share all this to say that the Second Amendment is not a relic of the past. It is a living, breathing expression of one of our most pivotal individual freedoms, and that's the right to bear arms. It safeguards our undeniable right to protect ourselves and our loved ones from imminent harm, to resist tyranny, and to defend the principles that we hold dear to us. This is why today I proudly represent a growing movement of law-abiding African-American gun owners who are taking charge of their personal safety via responsible gun ownership, contesting the master narrative about the relationship to firearms and ensuring that their voices are heard in debates about 2A. We are not looking to just be practitioners only. We seek to become business owners as well. And we are looking to align with others in the gun industry, an industry for which the master narrative of gun violence has been politicized away from African Americans. So it is time to change this master narrative, and that gun talk is outreaching our hands for partnership and change. So in the spirit of partnership, I conclude with the following calls to action. To American lawmakers and legal advocates, I urge you to listen to the voices of law-abiding, responsible gun owners from all American communities. Unfortunately, some of the legislation that Congress is trying to pass will not facilitate responsible gun ownership. Let's start forcing the laws that we already have. By joining forces with responsible gun owners, lawmakers can more effectively identify the resources and legislation needed to both safeguard our 2A right and work to reduce violence. To responsible gun owners, I believe that together we can ensure that every American has the ability to exercise their fundamental and constitutionally protected right to bear arms. By uniting, we can promote responsible and safe gun use and protect gun ownership in Pennsylvania. We must stand united for our Second Amendment rights, for it shall not be infringed. Thank you.
How do I follow up on a speech like that my wife has written? This is incredible.
Yeah.
My name is Jarrell Crew, and I'm here. I'm excited to be here today, and I'm proud to be here today to represent our community of 2A lovers. Without that Second Amendment, nothing else would matter. That Second Amendment protects everything else. And it shall not be questioned.
Right.
Why is that so difficult to understand? Shall not be questioned. For some reason, they challenge us every single year. We've developed this gun training program so we can help citizens in the community not to be afraid anymore. It's okay. The African American community was running scared of firearms. But now we're bringing a level of confidence to them to help them understand how to use firearms, how to protect yourself. And that's what we teach. But the biggest thing is, if we're not paying attention in our communities, we will not recognize what's happening on the floor, and laws get passed, and the next thing you know, we don't have what we're supposed to have. We have to get involved. We have to stop being asleep. Get involved to make this change. It's very, very important that we get involved. The Second Amendment is dear to us. I don't want to kill anyone, but I want to be able to go home. And I want you to be able to go home to your families. Our city is a mess right now. What is Larry Krasner doing? Nothing.
No, it's making it worse.
Exactly. We have people that have committed atrocious crimes, and they're right back out on the street again. People are running scared in Philadelphia, but we're here to change that narrative. We're here to help them, educate them, teach them the right way, so they can be legally responsible gun owners. That is our job. We stand with the Second Amendment. I stand with the veterans. I stand with the American patriots. We stand to make a change in our city that's running amok by bad leadership. So you know what we can do? We can start paying attention to who they are, and we can make our voices known at the ballot box. We have to make our voices known at the ballot booth. If we don't like what's going on, let's vote them out of there. Let's vote them out of there. I want to be protected. My fellow Americans want to be protected. So we have to stand on our Second Amendment rights, because it shall not be infringed. It shall not be questioned. I am so proud that my group is here with me. Part of my group is here over there. Guys, wave your hands. There you go. You see those signs? Our two votes shall not be infringed. United we stand.
Yeah.
We have more in common than you think. We have more in common than you think. And if you allow the media to push the narrative, it'll separate us instead of bringing us together. We are stronger together. Woo! We are stronger together. Our 2A rights shall live and shall not die. My uncle served in the Vietnam War. Sergeant Major of the United States Marine Corps. I stand here on behalf of him. Number 5. So please, pay attention to what's going on in Congress. Get involved. And we can make a difference. I believe that our community is going to save the 2A. That's what I believe. Look how many new people from our community have picked up firearms now. But the most liberating thing is when they understand how to use them and feel safe with them. So I thank everyone for coming out here today. I don't want to keep running my big mouth. But I'm so excited to be here because I tell you, we are stronger together. We must stick together, especially with our 2A rights. It shall not be questioned.
Well, thanks again, Carice, Jarrell, for reminding us that the safety and welfare of we the people can never be guaranteed by criminalizing our most fundamental freedoms. You know, I'm going off script a little bit, but we had a conversation down in my office here a little while ago, speaking about when I was working as an insurance investigator down in the Philadelphia area. And you know what? Every moment that I was out there watching the kids, raising kids on the streets and the different things that were going on, my heart was breaking for the people in that community. And now we have people like these folks, and Reese and Jarrell and their crew, no pun intended, they are educating people. They are helping to empower, as Carice said, empower people to defend themselves in the face of a government that will not defend them. God bless you. In a free, and we do stand with you. United, we do stand. You know, in a free society, no law-abiding citizen should be a target for discrimination when they are put in a situation which requires execution of lethal force in their self-defense. Common sense can also lead us to the truth that violent criminals are in no way deterred by gun control laws, since they are almost universally obtain their weapons illegally, and in places like Philadelphia, there's no consequence to them having a gun in the commission of a crime. Radical progressives want us to believe that government can protect us, and we should willingly surrender our God-given right to keep and bear arms. Who in God's name is protecting the people of Philadelphia? Because it's sure not their local government. I say no way. Our sacred right to arm and protect ourselves, our loved ones, and our property is non-negotiable, and we will defend it. Finally, let's take a few moments to silently reflect, please, on the legacy of Firearm Owners Against Crime founder and President Emeritus Kim Stolper, who passed away earlier this spring. Whether it was fighting for freedom as a Marine paratrooper in Vietnam, or championing the life-saving legislation such as the Castle Doctrine and concealed carry, Kim was tireless and a tireless warrior in the fight to protect our sacred right to keep and bear arms and the American way of life. And he, along with Representative Metcalf, got this whole annual rally started. If we could just take a moment. I will never forget the image of Kim standing on these Capitol steps, vividly illustrating the number of extreme gun control bills introduced in the General Assembly that would never see the light of day on his watch. He held that thing up and it went right down the steps. It's going to take people like you, people like Carice and Jarrell and their team, educating people, helping people to understand the foundational principles behind this right. Understanding that none of the rights in our Bill of Rights can be transgressed upon. To every law-abiding citizen who has made the trip to Harrisburg today, you have also done your part in reminding Governor Shapiro and the rest of his gun-confiscating conspirators in the state legislature that we will never be silent. We will not be inactive bystanders when our heritage and our most cherished personal liberties are under attack. May God bless America and all who defend her. Amen.
Thank you guys. Go ahead, hold on.
We
went back to first for a second.
By the way, I do want to recognize our Senate members. Abby read the ones for us, or for the House. The Second Amendment Caucus for the Senate, Senator Dave Argel, Senator Ryan Aument, Senator Linda Schlegel-Culver, Kristen Phillips-Hill, Senator Scott Hutchinson, who is with us today, Senator Wayne Langerholt, Senator Doug Mastriano, Senator Tracy Pennycook, who's also with us today, Senator Greg Rothman, Senator Pat Stefano, Senator Elder Vogel, Senator Judy Ward, and Senator Gene Yaw.
Thank you everyone for coming today and braving the rain. I know that it could have been better weather for us, but I'm so thankful that you came anyway. I just have some last minute housekeeping. If you are staying to lobby your legislators and coming in that Capitol, if you have a firearm with you, you have to check this with security. I have the forms up here. You're You're welcome to come up and say hello to Therese and Jarrell. Can we give them another round of applause? Use the restrooms. They're also inside, so if you have a firearm, you'll have to check in for that too. But any other questions? I got the forms up here. Thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you for staying engaged in the fight, and let's keep working on it. All right. Thank you.
We do have firearms. You can't check them at this door. You have to go around to the east side and come in over there. They have the lockers to store them for you.